All right.
No,
This
boy.
one, some people, they call it the diamond push-up. So I don't know what they mean by advanced.
Well, I suspect that what they mean by advanced is this is the harder version, right? But the truth is, there's very little chest participation in this exercise. This exercise is almost all front deltoids and triceps. Basically, you're doing what we call a front press, right? If you were to get on your back and you push a pair of dumbbells up, you're not moving toward the sternum, you're moving toward the clavicle.
Yeah.
Right. So by bringing your elbows in, right, you're pushing, you're moving them toward the clavicle, right? And the fact that if you looked at this sideways, you would see that forearm going like this. That means there's a lot of tricep involvement. You know, the thing that I try to teach is that there's not only a science, a physics, a neurology, musculoskeletal rationale for why some movements are, well, all movements can be rated, but there's also another factor, and that is the psychological factor. And I was just talking to our one of our friends, I won't mention his name, but he was telling me how he hates to work abs. He hates feeling that ab burn. Well, I don't get any, well, I shouldn't say I don't get any, but I don't do that kind of ab exercise, that kind of ab workout. When I say that kind, what I mean is that there is a belief that abs have to be done high reps and that they have to burn. And there's literally no justification for that at all, because the abs are like a bicep. You don't train your biceps that way, right? When you work abs, your objective should be development. It should not be fat loss. How do you get development? Full range of motion, resistance. When I do abs, I do between 30 reps at most. That's my warm-up, really. 20, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10. 10 reps. The right exercise, full range of motion with the right amount of resistance for sets of 10 do not create that burning sensation that our friend was telling about, right? So not only do we want to work out in a way that's most productive, but we also want to work in a way that is least miserable. Push-ups are miserable. Chin-ups are miserable, right? Squats are miserable. And so, and high repetition abs or planks are miserable, and you do not need to do them. There is a more productive and easier way of working out. So why use the method that is going to make you hate working out? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So this push-up is not a chest push-up.
It's not a chest exercise. I mean, do the chest muscles participate? Well, yeah, clavicular more, sternal least, costal even less, because you're not moving toward the costals. You're moving you're moving the upper arm in an upward direction toward your head. You're not moving them toward your feet. So, but it's far more front deltoid and triceps than it is pectoral.
Okay.
See, that's the beauty of our course, is that we teach basically how to determine.
Yeah.
By looking at an anatomical movement, just saying, well, toward which muscle origin is that limb moving? Well, that requires you to know a little bit about where the muscle origins are, a little bit of anatomy. But once you know where the front deltoids start and end, where the triceps start and end, where the pecs start and end, where the lats start and end, once you know those things, then you can identify, oh, well, that movement is like, for example, if you're doing a pullover, the old pullover machine, you aren't moving toward the spine. All of the lat fibers are connected to the lower 2/3 of the spine and the top part of the back part of the pelvis. So moving the arm in moves towards those origins. When you're moving parallel to your body, you're not moving toward the midline. You're not moving toward the spine. You're not moving. This is the beauty of our program. We're not saying you need us forever. We're not saying that. Other people will say, you need us forever because we're not going to tell you the science of all this stuff. We're just going to teach you a new exercise all the time. And if you want to keep learning new exercises, keep coming back. We say, let us teach you how the body works. And then you can evaluate your own exercises your own way.
Yeah. So
it's like teaching a man to fish versus giving him fish.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
We're teaching you how to fish. We're teaching you how to know.
Yeah. Do you want me to show you again the exercise, or you just saw it?
I show it again, please. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah.
No problem. So this one. So this one, you see here, the arms are like shoulder width apart, but very close to my side. Sorry, it's like closer to my side, actually.
I get it. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
You see it here?
Yep, I see what you're doing. Okay. So again, physics. This is all very easy to analyze. So when you saw it from the side, you saw that the forearm was more vertical than it was in the previous version. The previous version had his hands higher. This one had his hands lower, right? So that means that the elbow has to bend less. There has to be less of a diagonal angle to the forearm. That means there's less triceps, but that forearm angle was reducing the length of the upper arm in the first one. So the first one had less front deltoid and more triceps. Now he's reduced that moment arm reduction of the upper arm lever of the upper arm bone. And so he's lengthened that magnification. He's increased the load to the front deltoid, and he's decreased the magnification and the load to the triceps. So again, not a chest exercise.
No.
Does the chest participate? 10%, maybe. Not a lot.
All right. Let's see the next one.
And
maybe
by the way,
next one.
I encourage you to try it. Go home and try it. See if you do that exercise, see if you feel it in the chest, see if you feel it in the front deltoids, and see if you feel it in the triceps, and you'll see everything I just said makes perfect sense. Oh boy.
You got the idea.
Yeah.
All right. This is more chest, right?
Yeah, I can't help but wonder and think, the kind of person who sees that and finds it appealing, finds it interesting. I guess it would be the kind, this is not meant to offend, but it's the kind of person who, for starters, probably does not have access to equipment, dumbbells, benches, cables.
Street workout. Many people do this in street workout.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this is that there is, by the way, similar to a one-legged squat, there is a certain amount of showmanship involved in this, right? So this is no different than a group of, 3, 4, 5 guys getting together and saying, I can do this. Can you do this? And then maybe out of the 5, 4 can, 1 drops out. Then they go to the next level, a little bit harder. Another guy drops out, right? So the idea is, who can do them all? That determines who the king of the mountain is, right? But boy, and by the way, I should probably say that this gets down to a philosophical issue. In other words, I cannot determine on what things people should be proud of, right? I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a biomechanics person who understands how to get the most load and the least effort and the greatest safety. And that's what we teach. But I see very, very, very little value in trying to establish my prowess by doing certain things physically that other people cannot do. That's meaningless to me. Just like it's meaningless. Somebody asked me the other day, what did your arm measure in that one photo? I don't know. I've never measured. It's irrelevant. The only reason why you would care is because you're going to compare it to somebody else's measurement. I don't want to compare it to anybody else. I just want to do what I do as best as I can do it. That's what we should all do, in my opinion. But this is obviously an exercise that has a higher degree of difficulty. Obviously, you're essentially doing a one-arm push-up. When you shift over to one side, since your body weight is over here, that arm doesn't have to do very much.
Yeah.
It's this one, right? And it's no different than if you put your hand behind your back and do a one-arm push-up. And so you're doubling the load on the one side. And again, if you look at the physics, as I just described, and you draw a vertical line through the hand from the front and from the side, and you could see what the forearm is doing, you could see what the upper arm is doing, you could see what muscle origin those limbs are moving toward, etc. You can pretty much quantify, what muscle is getting more work, what muscle is getting less work, what muscle isn't getting any work. And I would not recommend that exercise for physique development, for muscular development, for fitness. I would not recommend it. It is basically an exercise, no different than if someone put a stack of plates on your chest. When you did a two-handed push-up, you've added more weight to the participating muscles because you've taken away one arm, essentially. And it's not something that I would rely on for physique development. And it's also not something that I would recommend from the perspective of safety or the perspective of a workout enjoyment, unless you define your enjoyment as showing off.
Yeah. All right, next one. All right, I see this one. Many people do it, especially trainers also. They do this one with their clients, or if the client can't do that one, they will ask them to do it with their knees on the floor.
Right. Well, obviously, when you put your knees on the floor, you shorten the lever, so you reduce the weight magnification.
Yeah.
I mean, the body weight, the amount of body weight that's on the hands. This exercise, as well as the one before it, the people who promote these exercises, the people who like these exercises, I would say, in fairness, the people who like these exercises like them because they would argue, and of course, this is what they were told, which is why they're taking this position, is that this is considered functional fitness. You've probably seen a similar thing. You might be even showing it next, where they're doing a push-up with one hand on a ball.
I didn't do that one, but yeah, I know that one.
So, and then they roll the ball from one hand to the other hand.
Yeah.
Right. And so they would call that functional fitness. So, and then you might say, well, what's so functional about it? You would say, well, life isn't a balanced barbell. Life isn't, an evenly distributed, pair of 30-pound dumbbells. It might be 30 in one hand. It might be 50 in another. Right. And so I would say, when you make a muscle stronger, it's better. It's more functional. It can be applied in any way. In other words, if you encounter something that's off balance somewhere in the real world, your strengthened muscles will deal with that imbalance. You don't have to train with imbalance in order to do that other imbalancing that you may or may never have to deal with. So what ends up happening is that, and this is sort of an unfortunate thing, although, it is what it is. People that hire trainers oftentimes hire a trainer because they want the workout to be fun. They want the workout to be different. They want it to be game playing, challenging, mentally, physically challenging. And of course, the trainer pats them on the back. Good job. You did fantastic. Gratification. I feel good about myself. My self-esteem is better than it was before. My trainer said I did really good.
Some people need that, not just because they want to.
And that's why I said that.
Yeah.
That's why I said that. Is some people need that. Some people have the kind of personality, they get bored very easily, and they need to have the workout be a little game-like. And so they play this little game, and they believe that their workouts being functional will somehow improve their day-to-day life. But at the end of the day, we're just talking about strengthening muscles. So what I would say is, and this is why we teach what we teach, is we say, what is the straightest, quickest, most direct way to get from point A to point B? We want to look better. We want to be stronger. period. No game playing. We don't want to waste any energy. We don't want to waste time. We don't want to have an unnecessary risk of injury. We want to make our bodies better looking and stronger. And then we can take that stronger body, we can move a couch with it if we want, or we can play soccer with it if we want, or we can play tennis with it if we want, or we can carry, a table up a stairs if we want, right? Our bodies are stronger and they can handle anything that requires resistance. You don't have to train in these weird off balance ways in order to get there. So again, it gets back to a little bit of a philosophy. My philosophy is make the workout as effective and as no nonsense as possible. And in that process, you'll discover that it's also more enjoyable. It's also easier. It's also safer. So if you're the kind of person that needs fun and games and part of your workout, by all means, go ahead and have a party. Yeah. But if your objective is like mine is, which is I want to get from point A to point B as smoothly and swiftly as possible, then we want to be able to dissect this thing and literally measure the greatest return on investment. How do I load the muscle most with the least amount of effort, and certainly the least amount of wasted effort?
All right, next one.
Well, we can cut this a million different ways. I can only imagine, let's say, a housewife. And by housewife, I don't necessarily mean anything about that other than a non-athlete, a non-professional person. And generally speaking, we assume that men can do things that are physically more challenging than women can do. So I can only imagine a housewife going to the gym to meet with her trainer, and the trainer teaches her this exercise. And let's just say when she first sees him do it, he says, I want you to do this. And she looks at it, she goes, oh, I could never do that, right? Let's just say she is. She can actually do 4 or 5 repetitions. She can't do more than that. She collapses after that, but she can do 4 or 5, and she surprises herself that she could do it. And the trainer pats her on the back. She goes, wow, that was fantastic. Then that woman goes home, and maybe she's meeting with her girlfriends, and she says, God, my trainer had me do the hardest exercise yesterday. And they go, show us, right? As if hard equals productive, right? And so she does it. And so now she's got there. So this is the game. This is the game that's played. And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. It's the game of human psychology. It's the belief that the harder something is to do, the trickier something is to do, the more benefit it provides. And that's actually not true. That's actually not true because of physics, right? You can actually work less and get more. So the fact that you're doing something that's really hard and makes you feel good about yourself that you were able to do it, like jumping up on a crate or something, you're able to do it, and maybe you didn't think you could, somehow makes you feel better about yourself, but it shouldn't. I mean, it's good to improve, but you don't have to compare your ability to anybody else's ability, period. It's irrelevant. You have to be functional enough to do the things you need to do, to carry the baby, to take out the trash, to mow the lawn, to whatever it is that we have to do. We have to be strong enough to do that easily without getting injured. Yes. And that's what our biomechanics program teaches you. There's the most direct way to get strong and look better and be able to do all of those things. And you don't have to do these jumping up on a box and 2-minute planks and throwing the ball from side to side while you're doing the push-up and doing this thing. These are all ways, and I don't mean that they're deceiving you. It's just trainers realize that, part of what makes them viable as a professional is to keep the client coming back. And part of keeping the client coming back is letting that person feel that they're improving in something. They're improving their ability to do these games. They're improving their ability to do push-ups or stand on a wobble board. And so these improvements make you feel good, but we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day, how useful are these things? How does this compare with that? How does this compare with that? It's not a standalone. It's not, is this a good exercise or is this not? Is it a good exercise compared to that? Well, no, compared to that, that's much better. That's much more productive. That's what you should be asking yourself is what is the most productive way to work out? Not what is the most difficult, right? What if I told you to stand on a wobble board and juggle 3 balls? That's difficult. Is that productive? No. When are you going to need that skill?
Yeah. To defend some people, so we can explain it more why we're saying this. I was a trainer as well. I'm still training some clients, but differently as compared to before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal to keep my job and to keep that client coming back, I have to always make her. Yeah, I'm thinking about a woman that I was training.
I heard that.
Yeah, make her always, having fun. So every day she comes, it's something different. So can you imagine, like this person needed to lose some weight, and I use the same exercises for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, to the point that she knows everything that we're doing and she can do it by herself. So what's the point of having me? Mm-hmm. So I had to create different things that she don't know to make sure that she's always interested and want to come back, because she always don't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do today? And that part will make the training more interesting and keep her coming.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not going to say that our way is the only way of working out. Period. It isn't. Everyone has a different psychological makeup. Everyone has different needs. We know that compliance is the first thing that fails in a person's fitness program. Most people don't stick with it. That's the bottom line. Most people start and then they stop and they start and they stop. They start a diet and then they stop. They're inconsistent. So when someone hires a trainer, to some degree, what they're actually looking for is some way of staying committed. Now, I will be the first person to say that something is always better than nothing. I as I said earlier, if you want to do those push-ups, you go ahead and do them. If they're fun for you and you like to do them, I'm not saying don't do them. We never say don't do anything. Yeah. Unless it's just flat out dangerous. But you may find that it's not very fun because body weight, only allows you to get 4 reps or 5 reps or something like that. And by the way, you would never go into a gym and pick a weight as your only set that only lets you do 4 or 5 reps. Yeah. So, when someone says I can only do 4 chin-ups, and I say, well, then why do you do chin-ups? And by the way, if you can do 30 chin-ups, I still say, why do you do chin-ups? But, but the point is that there's more productive ways to work out that maybe are less playful, less fun, less game-like. I had a gym for 11 years and we had a very big aerobic program. And you realize that a big reason why these people come is because of the music and the camaraderie. Wow. The group setting. They like the group setting. We're all in this together. We're all feeling the same thing. We're all, if we're getting tough, we're all looking at each other. We go, yeah, right. We wink, wink, we're all in this together. There's a certain comfort that comes in working out in a group environment or working out with, by the way, there's people that cannot lift weights. They will tell you flat out, if I'm not playing tennis, I can't exercise. Exercise is the most boring thing. All right. It is what it is. We're not trying to tell you that you should change your perspective. Yes. All we're saying is if your objective is to get in the best shape you can get in the least amount of time, with the least amount of wasted effort, with the least risk of injury, here are the exercises you should use, and here are the ones you shouldn't use, and here's why. If that appeals to you, then we're the organization for you. If that's not your mindset, that's okay. That's perfectly okay. We're not here to sell everybody. We're only here to explain how to use physics, neurology, and anatomical function to narrow down and find the very best movement for this, and this muscle group, so you can get the most noticeable improvement in the way your physique looks, and the most improvement in your strength. And when I say strength, we strengthen muscles individually, and together it adds up to a strong body. The idea that you are only going to rate strength by a compound movement ignores the fact that each individual muscle can be maximally strengthened individually, and together they are a strong body.
All right. Makes perfect sense.
Oh boy.
This is past advanced. Because you have to keep your legs straight, you know, and use your arm, bring your forehead to your the back of your hands for maximum chest and upper chest development.
Is that what it said?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. That was 99% triceps.
Yes, it is.
I mean, you know, because you felt it, right? But I can tell just by looking at it. Those of you that want to go back, not Mo, but those of you that want to go back and look at that again, you'll see that the upper arm bone isn't even moving.
Yeah.
The elbow's extending and straightening, right? That's all it's doing. The forearm is going from vertical to horizontal, right? It's a tricep extension.
Very challenging one.
Well, yeah, because it's body weight. Right now, it's not full body weight because now you've created this piked position. So now the length of your body has been reduced. So, but still, it's not the weight you would choose if you had a pair of dumbbells or a cable at your disposal. So again, it's the kind of thing that you'd say, well, I want to work my triceps. I don't have any equipment at all. I'm at home. What do I do? Well, if you do that exercise and you don't hate it, then I would say do it for triceps. But it is not in the same category as the other push-up exercises we did. It's a completely different anatomical motion. Hi, I'm Doug Brignole.
And I'm Mo Larby from Smart Training 365. Welcome to the Brig 20 videos.
We're glad you've joined us. We're going to talk about the Brig 20, and that refers to the 20 best anatomical motions for physique development and muscular development. Now, some of these have alternatives, and we're going to show you all of these exercises one by one. So come and join us. Let's get started.